Most people believe that walking more is the key to staying healthy after 70. But what if I told you that doctors are now warning against it? Walking is a great way to stay active, but if it's your only form of exercise, you could be making a mistake that accelerates aging rather than slowing it down. The truth is, as you age, your body needs more than just walking to stay strong, maintain balance, and protect your joints. Relying too much on walking while ignoring other essential forms of movement can actually lead to muscle loss, joint strain, and even a higher risk of falls. That's why experts now say that after 70, you should walk less and focus on these 5 things instead, because they are the real secret to maintaining strength, energy, and independence well into your later years. In this video, we're going to break down the 5 key areas you should be prioritizing instead of just walking. These simple changes can improve your mobility, protect your bones, and even add years to your life. Stick with me until the end, because the last one is something almost no one talks about, but it plays a major role in your longevity. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you enjoy this video, please type 1 in the comments. If you don't like it, type 0 in the comments to let me know so I can make better videos for you. Now let's get started. 1. Strength training to preserve muscle mass. Walking is a great way to stay mobile, but if it's the only thing you're doing, you could be setting yourself up for muscle loss. After 70, sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle mass, becomes one of the biggest threats to independence. The problem is that walking alone doesn't do much to build muscle. It primarily engages the lower body, and even then, it doesn't provide the kind of resistance your muscles need to stay strong. That's why doctors now emphasize that after 70, strength training should be a top priority, because it directly counteracts muscle loss, improves balance, and keeps you strong enough to avoid injuries and falls. If you can still carry a heavy grocery bag without struggling, stand up from a chair without using your hands, or open a tight jar with ease, that's a great sign that your muscles are still working well. But if you've noticed that these simple tasks feel harder than they used to, it's likely because your muscles are gradually weakening, even if you don't realize it. The reality is, if you don't actively work to maintain your strength, your body will start losing it. Take someone like Robert, 74. He walked every day, thinking that was enough to keep him healthy. But one day, he noticed he was struggling to lift a box that used to feel light. He also realized that standing up from the couch felt more difficult than before. At first, he blamed it on aging, but then his doctor explained that muscle loss wasn't just something that happened, it was something that happened faster if you didn't challenge your muscles. So he started adding basic strength exercises into his routine: light resistance bands, bodyweight squats, and simple dumbbell movements. Within a few months, he noticed a huge difference. He felt stronger, more stable, and even had more energy throughout the day. Strength training doesn't mean lifting heavy weights at the gym. It can be as simple as using resistance bands, doing bodyweight exercises like squats or push-ups against a counter, or even lifting household objects. The key is progressive resistance, challenging your muscles just enough to keep them active and engaged. Studies show that maintaining muscle mass is directly linked to longer life expectancy, better mobility, and even improved brain health. If you want to test where your strength is at right now, try this. Sit in a chair and stand up without using your hands. If you can do this easily, that's a great sign. If you struggle, it may be time to start focusing on rebuilding your strength. The good news? It's never too late. Strength training can reverse muscle loss, improve balance, and keep you independent for years to come. So if you're someone who still relies only on walking for exercise, consider this your wake-up call. Muscle is the key to longevity, and after 70, it's one of the most important things you can protect. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now, let's continue. 2. Balance and stability exercises to prevent falls. Walking keeps you moving, but it doesn't always improve balance, and that's something most people don't realize until it's too late. After 70, fall prevention becomes one of the most important aspects of staying healthy and independent. Falls are one of the leading causes of serious injury in older adults, and many falls happen not because of weak legs, but because of poor balance. If you aren't actively training your balance, you might be unknowingly increasing your risk of stumbles, trips, and dangerous falls. You might think, I've been walking my whole life, so my balance must be fine. But balance isn't something that stays strong automatically. It gradually declines unless you actively work on it. Walking doesn't challenge the small stabilizing muscles in your feet, ankles, and core the way balance-specific exercises do. If your balance weakens, even a small misstep can lead to a fall that takes months or even years to recover from. Think about the last time you stood on one foot while putting on a sock or tried reaching for something on a high shelf. Did you feel steady, or did you have to grab onto something? Many people don't realize their balance is slipping until they experience a near fall, one that leaves them shaken up and cautious with every step. That's what happened to someone like Edward, 76. He was always active, but one day while stepping off a curb, his foot landed at an odd angle and he suddenly lost his balance. He caught himself just in time, but that moment made him realize how vulnerable he had become. His doctor told him that simple balance exercises, like standing on one foot, shifting his weight side to side, and practicing controlled movements, could help rebuild his stability. Within weeks, he noticed that he felt stronger, steadier, and more confident in his movements. Balance exercises don't require a gym or special equipment. Simple movements like standing on one foot, walking heel to toe in a straight line, or practicing slow, controlled weight shifts can dramatically improve your stability. The benefits go beyond just avoiding falls. Better balance means better posture, stronger reflexes, and even improved coordination, making every movement feel more effortless and controlled. If you want to test your balance, try this. Stand near a counter for safety and lift one foot off the ground. See if you can hold your balance for at least 10 seconds. If this feels easy, that's a great sign. If you struggle, it's a sign that your balance may need some work, and the sooner you start, the better. Balance is one of those things you don't think about until it's too late, but training it now can keep you strong and independent for years to come. So if you've been focusing only on walking, it's time to start prioritizing balance, because the best way to prevent a fall isn't just to stay active, it's to train your body to stay steady. 3. Flexibility and mobility exercises to keep joints healthy. Aging, while filled with wonderful moments, often comes with an undercurrent of uncertainty. Retirement might change your daily structure. Health issues could emerge. The loss of dear friends or even a spouse may create loneliness. It's natural then to long for a steady presence of loved ones. Yet placing too much pressure on your children to fill these emotional voids can lead to unintended guilt or frustration on their part. Emotional independence involves balancing your desire for connection with a healthy acceptance that children cannot be the sole source of your fulfillment. Consider Helen, who had retired from a lifetime of working at the local library. She remembered a time when her children visited every weekend, the house loud with giggles and spirited conversation. As her children's own families and careers expanded, weeks passed without calls or visits. Saddened, Helen took it upon herself to phone them constantly, subtly hinting at how lonely she felt. As much as her children loved her, they felt overwhelmed by what seemed like a demand for their time. Emotional independence doesn't diminish love. Rather, it allows it to grow freely. When you maintain connections through clubs, faith groups, or volunteer organizations, you anchor yourself in a broader community. This sense of belonging enriches both you and your family, who see a parent actively engaged in life, not passively waiting by the phone for contact. In many ways, nurturing your own emotional well-being also underscores some of the life lessons from the elderly, offering hope, resilience, and personal growth even in later stages of life. Let's check in on your flexibility for a moment. Stand up tall and gently turn your head as far as you can to one side, then ease it over to the other. How does it feel, fluid and free? Or do you catch a snag of tightness? If it's the latter, that little tug is your body waving a flag, hinting that your flexibility might be slipping away. But here's the good news, it's not a done deal. With just a handful of minutes each day, think simple stretches while the coffee brews. You can coax your body back to feeling youthful, limber, and free of nagging aches for years down the road. If walking's been your trusty exercise companion, that's a solid start, but it's not the full story. Flexibility deserves a spot in your routine too. Loose joints and smooth moves aren't just nice perks, they're your ticket to staying active and fiercely independent past 70. It's like oiling the hinges of a well-loved door. Keep them moving, and they'll carry you wherever you want to go. If these insights are lighting a spark for you, drop a number 3 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. Alright, let's roll on to the next bit. 4. Core and posture exercises to protect your spine. Walking keeps your legs moving, but it doesn't do much to bolster your core strength or keep your posture in check. 2 factors that grow vital after 70. A sturdy core goes beyond sculpted abs. It's the key to staying steady, warding off back pain, and keeping your spine properly aligned as you go about your day. When your core weakens, you might notice nagging lower back soreness, shaky balance, or a habit of slumping forward while strolling. All red flags that raise your chances of tripping or stressing your joints over time. Some older adults remember a time when respect for parents was nearly a cultural norm. Children didn't backtalk without consequences, and a simple glance from a parent could quell misbehavior. Although cultural expectations have evolved, boundaries remain crucial. Let's say your child has taken to criticizing your decisions, whether it's your choice to take up a new hobby or how you manage your budget. If those jabs go unchallenged, you implicitly communicate that it's acceptable. Robert learned this lesson the hard way. He was a retired businessman, proud of his accomplishments but eager for a tranquil family life. When his adult children openly belittled his choices, everything from how he spent his savings to whether he should still drive, he let it slide. Over time, these comments became more frequent and cutting. Eventually, Robert recognized his silence was fueling their disrespect. At a family gathering, he calmly said, "I appreciate your concern, but I need you to speak to me respectfully if we're going to have a productive conversation." He did not raise his voice or point fingers. He set a clear boundary. At first, his children recoiled in surprise. They were not used to hearing Robert insist on limits, but as he remained steady in his stance, they slowly adapted. Boundaries can be maintained with loving firmness. They don't close the door to conversation, but redirect it toward a more respectful tone. This thoughtful approach merges both practical advice, since setting limits is vital for mental health, and a layer of gentle sentimentality. After all, boundaries, when expressed lovingly, reaffirm the value of familial relationships. They say, "I love you enough to insist that we keep our interactions healthy." If you want to test your core strength, try this. Stand against a wall with your back flat and your head, shoulders, and hips touching the surface. Can you maintain this position comfortably, or does it feel like you have to force yourself upright? If it feels unnatural, that's a sign that your posture may need work, and the sooner you start strengthening your core, the better. Posture and core strength are essential for staying active, avoiding injuries, and maintaining a youthful appearance. If you've been relying only on walking for exercise, it's time to focus on the muscles that truly keep you upright and strong. 5. Joint protection and low-impact movements to reduce strain. Walking is a beautiful way to stay alive and moving. It's that simple joy of feeling the earth beneath your feet. But if it's the only way you move, especially after 70, it can quietly burden your joints with strain they don't deserve. As the years stack up, cartilage thins, joint fluid fades, and your body's natural shock absorbers grow weary. That's why so many of us, active souls included, start waking up to stiff knees, tender hips, or feet that whisper complaints, even after a lifetime of motion. The ache isn't walking's fault alone. It's that walking, by itself, can't cradle your joints the way they now beg to be held. We often shrug off joint pain as aging's inevitable shadow, but here's the deeper truth. Stiffness and soreness rush in faster when we don't shield our joints with care. Walking's steady drumbeat, step after step, can wear on the same spots like a river carving stone. Doctors now urge us, after 70, to ease off the endless strides and embrace low-impact moves that nurture and fortify those precious hinges. Think of it as a tender act of love for the body that's carried you this far. Recall your last long walk. Did you finish buzzing with life, or did your joints sigh with stiffness, a dull ache lingering like an uninvited guest? If soreness shadows your steps, it's your body's quiet plea for more support. Take Raymond, 77, a man who walked daily, convinced it was his lifeline, but his knees grew rigid, his lower back groaned, and he felt betrayed by his own vigor. His doctor's words hit hard. Reduce the pounding, give your joints a gentler path. So he turned to soft swimming, easy cycling, and stretches that felt like a sigh of relief. In weeks, the pain lifted, not gone, but lighter. Proof he could still move without losing himself. Low-impact treasures like water exercises, cycling, tai chi, or chair stretches aren't just kind, they're lifelines. They coax blood to your joints, slick them with lubrication, and wrap the surrounding muscles in strength, all without harsh pressure. This isn't mere pain relief. It's a promise of smoother days, less rigidity, and motion that flows like a quiet stream, carrying you forward for years. Test your joints now, sit down, then rise slowly without your hands. Do your knees and hips glide, or do they creak with resistance? If they protest, listen. It's your body's wisdom speaking, asking for care. Switching to gentler moves could shift everything. Healthy joints aren't just about dodging discomfort, they're about guarding your freedom, your ability to dance through life's small moments. Every painless step is a victory, a defiance of time. Life teaches us this. We don't just endure, we adapt, we soften, we protect what matters. If walking's been your sole rhythm, let this be your turning point. Choose movements that heal, not harm. You're not just preserving joints, you're honoring the journey they've walked with you. If these words stir something in you, drop number 5 in the comments. I'd love to know you're here. Now, let's bring it all together. Final thoughts. As we close out this video, let's pause and take stock of these 5 priorities: strength training, balance, flexibility, core strength, and joint protection. If walking has been your go-to, it's easy to miss how much more your body craves to stay vibrant, mobile, and free from pain after 70. These aren't just exercises, they're a shift in focus, protecting your muscles, steadying your steps, loosening your joints, bolstering your core, and easing the wear on your body. These are the threads that weave a tapestry of independence, keeping you active and engaged for years ahead. Aging often gets painted as a slow fade, a quiet surrender to time. But here's the real truth. Your body's a fighter, capable of growing stronger at any age. Small steps, like lifting a can of soup or stretching by the window, can rewrite how you move, how you feel, even how you see yourself. Life doesn't hand you resilience, you build it bit by bit. Muscle fades gradually, balance slips silently, joints stiffen over time. But that slow creep is your chance to push back, to reclaim what's yours. Here's a life lesson worth holding on to. It's never too late to start. Maybe you've noticed your grip weakening, your steps hesitating, or that old stiffness settling in. That's not a sentence, it's a signal, a nudge to act. One elderly friend once told me, "I wish I'd known my body was waiting for me to challenge it, not coddle it." That's advice to live by. Don't wait for permission to thrive. Pick one area, strength, balance, whatever calls loudest, and take a tiny swing at it today. The power's in the doing. So, what's your next move? Which of these 5 sparks something in you? Have you felt changes creeping into your strength, your steadiness, your ease? Drop a comment below with one thing you've learned today and how you'll weave it into your life. I'd love to hear your story. Your words fuel us, lighting up this space with shared wisdom and encouragement.